everyone, and welcome to For Love and Money with the Lesbian Talk Show, where we talk about selling the most sapphic fiction that we can. Today, we have a very special guest who I'm honored to interview, Radclyffe. We met at this year's GCLS conference, and it was a pretty great experience. I got to moderate one of her panels, which was really fun. Thank you for agreeing to sit down and talk with me for a little bit, Radclyffe.
Hi, good morning, Ray, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for asking me to be here. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, so am I. I've been waiting for this very excitedly. So I have a couple questions for you because obviously, Bold Strokes Books, it's a really large and well-established, well-respected publisher of lesbian fiction and has been for many years. And you have a lot of different authors under contract. So my first question is, when one of your authors releases a new book, what process does Bold Strokes go through to promote that book?
Well, we kind of have an approach to promotion that starts well before the book is actually released. Our vision is that it's not just about selling one book for an author, but for creating an audience for every author and to create visibility in the marketplace among readers so that they recognize not just each author or each author's book, but kind of the entire image of the author's work and what they can look forward to. So we start well before the release date with some of the obvious things that you would think about. Listing the titles with major distributors, retailers, libraries, so that they can be ordered and ready to go on the day of publication. But we put a lot of emphasis in direct-to-customer marketing. It's something that we've really tried to build in the last few years because we found that, and studies have shown that, the word of mouth is one of the best ways to promote a book. So we like our readers to know what's coming. So before the book even comes out, we start to give them an idea of this is our upcoming schedule, and these are the things that you can look forward to. And we do email blasts, facial media information through Facebook and Twitter. We put all of our titles on NetGalley, so reviewers, many of whom are not just librarians and booksellers, but also readers, can get a look at the advanced titles, can review the books, can start to promote them through word of mouth. We also send review copies to Publishers Weekly, Lambda Book Review, and all of the other usual suspects. At the time of publication, that's when we start to really communicate directly with readers because we expect that the booksellers already know about the title. And so our big push on the day or perhaps a week before publication are email blasts to all of our newsletter customers. We have pre-orders available on our web store. And we also do early release copies through our web store, both email, digital copies, and print copies, so that our loyal readers can get our books early at a discount if they come to our web store. So we really try to push our connection with our readers. And it doesn't stop on the day of publication. We like to be able to promote our books well post-publication so that readers who either haven't gotten to know that author or maybe missed a title or are interested in reading a series and missed the early books, we will continue to promote titles through email blasts when related books come out. If we're doing a new book, which is a sports title, we'll put 6 sports titles out in the newsletter so that readers can see, oh, I like that one. Maybe I'll go get this author. So it's an entire constellation in terms of the marketing approach for one title and the author's entire kind of body of work.
That's so great. It sounds like you have an entire plan already in place from all your years of experience.
Well, we've been doing it, as you said, since 2004. And over the years, how readers consume books and how readers buy books and find out about books has changed. Unfortunately, the loss of our, queer bookstores and feminist bookstores has made it difficult for readers to find books on the shelves. And they've taught themselves different ways to find books. And obviously, with the internet being available and all of our social media, you have to adapt so that you can reach readers the way they consume product. And that's really our emphasis, is to constantly look at how are our readers finding our titles? How are they promoting titles among readers groups? So again, there are a lot of online queer reading groups or book groups that we try to communicate with so that we can reach those readers where they live.
So my next question is, what types of events, you've already talked about a lot of these, but what types of events does Bold Strokes participate in to encourage sales? You talked about the loss of queer bookstores. Do you still go to the ones that are left to promote your books? Do you go to conferences? Well, obviously you go to GCLS because I met you there, but and what kind of events do you choose to attend to get the most out of your promotional resources?
Well, I would say we would do just about anything anybody wanted us to do. Um, yes, absolutely. Authors do events at bookstores. And again, there aren't as many as there used to be, but there certainly are still bookstores available. And we often help the authors. If the author, this is, author events are kind of, we don't make the authors do anything in terms of what they do in terms of promotion. Obviously, many of our authors have day jobs and they're really busy. They have family obligations, but the more they can do, the better it is. So when they tell us they would like to do a reading, that's when we jump on board and start helping them out. We have an event coordinator who interfaces with the authors, who can help provide them with pre-release copies if they're doing a book launch at a bookstore, or if they're doing it in their home, if they're doing it in a coffee house. We will help them get books and help print promotional materials. So yes, the authors do readings at bookstores all over the world. That's kind of one way that we help promote their books. The other way is Pride events. Lots of our authors like to do Pride events, and we'll do multiple events throughout the year. We provide them with books so that we give them free books that they can give away to help promote not only their work, but the work of other Bold Strokes authors. And the authors can access their own titles at deep discount from us, and then they sell their books at Pride events. So that's another way to get their work out to large audiences. We participate in lots of formal conferences throughout the year. The Golden Crown, which you just mentioned, our authors go to the RWA and have been on panels at Romance Writers of America. We just did a large author symposium in Nottingham, England, which we do every year through our event coordinator in Britain, as well as multiple events in Britain. Manchester Pride just recently, we just had a table there. We just got invited, hopefully, to participate in the Virginia Festival of Books, which is not a queer festival, but a large book festival in Charlottesville. And they just reached out to us, and so I'm hoping that we'll have some people there. And regional events, there's one in Dallas coming up in November, which is Books and Boots, which is GCLS sponsored. And one of our biggest Bold Strokes exclusive events is Women's Week in Provincetown, which we will be doing over Columbus Day weekend for a week. There will be 30 of our authors there. So we do signings and readings all day long for 5 days.
That sounds amazing. What a large presence there. That would be a great event to attend.
It's fun and crazy, but we enjoy it very much. And we look forward to seeing the readers who come back year after year.
My next question has to do with individual authors that you're under contract with. Which strategies do you see your most successful authors use to promote their own work? What separates them from the rest of the pack of people trying to sell their books?
Well, I mean, obviously, the most important thing is that you write a really good book. I think that there's no substitute for quality. And we, in my opinion, obviously, quality is our number one requirement. And I think that all of our authors write really well. I think paying attention to what is popular is also wise as an author myself. So I'll speak as an author. If I know that one of my most popular books is a contemporary romance set in a certain place that has a certain dynamic, I'll pay attention to what my readers are interested in reading. And I think that helps make for a successful author. So paying attention to what actually works for your readership, and this is for any author anywhere, is really important. In terms of some of our authors who have the greatest market presence, I would say that they work really hard at making connection to readers. I think that's critical in today's world. There's a lot of product, there's a lot of content out there. And in order to stand out, not only do you have to write a really good book, but people have to know about you and people have to feel that you're trying to reach out to them with what you're writing. So I think that the authors who make personal appearances, if they can, at the GCLS or other events, who are active on social media, if they can't personally interface with readers, I think answering every single email that comes your way is really important. Some of our authors do video logs and on podcasts like this, which I think is a great way to let readers know who you are as a person and what your work is. And obviously taking advantage of social media. I'm not the greatest social media person in the world. Personally, I'm on Facebook. I try not to use my Facebook interface with readers just to promote my work. I try to let them know, hey, this is who I am, and look at my ducks and my goats because I live on a farm. But I think the personal is very important in today's world between authors and readers.
Every single other guest that I have had on this podcast has emphasized how important social media is, but also you can't just post about yourself and your work all the time. You have to post about like other things besides your book, and you have to post about other people. So to hear that obviously you agree with these people is like, this is, I think, the most frequently given piece of advice on the podcast. So it must be very, very true.
Well, I think that we all want to know about the others in our life. And authors, especially our favorite authors, become others in our world. And, there are privacy issues, obviously, and there are barriers, and some of us are much more private than others. Some of us share more than others, and that's an individual choice. But I do think that when you interface with readers, it has to be more than just, hey, come buy my book.
Yes, absolutely. So back to the online world a little bit. Which sales platforms does Bold Strokes offer its catalog on? I know that you have your own website, and I think it's brilliant that you offer your books there first to get a bigger cut rather than having Amazon take it all. But which platforms do you upload your catalog to?
Well, as you said, and I'll make it brief because you've always sort of condensed the web store. We made a big push 3 years ago to really revamp our direct to customer interface so that we could offer daily bargains, sales to our readers, early releases, discounts, pre-orders, kind of a place to come where they could access our work easily and at better prices. And it's better for the authors because the authors make more for a sale on our web store than anywhere else. But when I look at the numbers and the sales, worldwide, there are many other important venues, and we have to take advantage of all of them. And that's one of the things that is most important to me, is that our books are available everywhere in the world, no matter how someone accesses that content, which means digitally, paperback, and audio. We've made a big push into audio in the last 3 years. Not our entire catalog is on audio now, but probably 35%, moving quickly upwards. All of our titles are available digitally through multiple vendors, in our web store, Amazon, iTunes, Kobo, Smashwords, all of the library platforms. And our paperback books are available through major distributors throughout the world. So there's basically anybody who can access a book through any fora other than potentially audiobook should be able to get one of our titles.
That's great. I admire the fact that you're so diversified. So I want to talk a little bit about you as an author rather than the head of Bold Strokes. You've actually written under other pen names besides Radclyffe, including LL Rand. Could you explain the reasoning behind your marketing decision for that?
Yep, that's a common question, and I'm still glad that I did it. I didn't start well. The LL Rand series is a paranormal romance series, which features a variety of paranormal characters, wears vampires, fae, and I didn't start writing that until I had written probably 35 romances as Radclyffe. So I had my following were romance readers primarily. And there's a crossover between romance readers and paranormal romance readers, but they're not all the same audience. And what I wanted to do with my paranormal romance was reach readers who might not identify as romance readers, but liked paranormal works. And I thought I would be able to expand my readership in that direction. But I also knew that there would be some of my romance readers who did not want to read a paranormal romance. And I actually had more than one say, I don't like paranormal, and that's not why I read Radclyffe. So I wanted to signal to my loyal readers, hey, this is a little bit different. And all of my books actually say Radclyffe writing as LL Rand on the cover. So my loyal readers would know it was me, but it was something different if they didn't want to read it. And the paranormal readers would not say, oh, she's a romance writer. I don't want to read this. It won't be good paranormal. So I was basically trying to hit two markets, but while keeping my audience. And the reason I chose LL Rand, if you notice, Rand is spelled Raand, which puts it next to Radclyffe on the bookshelves.
Oh, that's so smart. I had no idea. Um,
Uh-huh.
I love paranormal romance and just paranormal in general, so fully support that genre. Enjoyed the series very much. I have one more question for you, and it's a big one. So this is your time to share all the exciting things coming up at Bold Strokes. What exciting releases and events do you guys have coming up? You've already mentioned a few, but please list them for us.
Well, there's Women's Week in Provincetown, which starts um, October 7th, and we'll be there all week. And there'll be 30 of us there. There, we will have authors at in Dallas for the GCLS event, and then it's kind of a quiet time in terms of events until things start up again in the spring. But Saints and Sinners in March. Hopefully, we will have a presence at the Virginia Festival of Books later on in the year. Of course, the GCLS and other events. In terms of new releases, I just wanted to mention a couple things that are kind of exciting, and I think that speaks to the community of authors that you can create in a publishing house. We just did a series of releases, 3 novels by 3 different authors set in the same world. So they collaborated on a series that they wrote together, D. Jackson Lee, Missouri Vaughn, and V.K. Powell. So one book came out in June, one in July, and one in August, which was kind of a really neat thing that they got together as 3 authors who knew each other and said, hey, can we do this? And we have a new release that's coming out in October called Against All Odds, where 3 authors wrote 3 main characters from those characters' point of view within a single novel. So Chris Bryant, Maggie Cummings, and Megan Ulrich wrote together. So that's this kind of collaboration, which is pretty exciting and kind of new.
That's awesome. I frequently write collaborations with other writers, so I'm really excited to check these books out for sure. Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today. This was a very enlightening and entertaining conversation for me. I hope that you enjoyed being on the podcast. And thank you so much again for agreeing to sit down and talk to me about a subject that you sound really passionate about.
Well, I'm so happy to have had this chance to talk with you. And I mean, it's probably obvious I could talk forever about it, but it's something that I love to do. And I think it's really important for all of us and for our communities. So thank you.
Oh, it absolutely is important. I mean, lots of Bold Strokes titles have been important to me personally, so I can speak to the importance as a reader. Um, Thank you again. So, everyone, this was For Love and Money. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, please check out the Lesbian Talk Show's Facebook group. You can leave comments on this podcast or any of our other podcasts. And you can also check out our Patreon page if you want to be a Lesbian Talk Show champion. Your support will allow you to check out clips that didn't make it into the final cut of a lot of other podcasts that the Lesbian Talk Show offers. So there's a cool incentive to go check out the Patreon page. I will be including lots of links to Bold Strokes' website and all the other events that Radclyffe mentioned. So please check the show notes to check out all the different stuff she was talking about and hopefully buy some awesome books. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.